Hi guys, Dale Bateman here. On this episode of Build Your Success Online, I've got a simple 3-stage test that you can run on your WordPress blog to make sure it's running at its optimal speed and efficiency. Stay tuned. So when we're talking about the efficiency and speed of your WordPress blog, that is of the utmost importance, in my opinion, to the success of your online business. Let's face it, guys, if somebody visits your website and it's slow to load, or it doesn't load at all, or they have to wait for anything to load on the page, like images or videos, that kind of thing, people have a very short attention span today. They're used to instant gratification, and if they don't get it, quite simply they'll move on. So you have to make sure that your WordPress blog is working at its utmost speed and efficiency. So today I've got a 3-stage test that you can perform on your WordPress blog at any time. It's totally free. These are free tools you can get right off the web. Run these tests on your blog and see that it's running at its utmost efficiency. This way, when people visit your blog, you can be sure, you can kind of rest assured that when they get there, they're going to be able to see everything that you want to show them, and their engagement will be increased, and they'll be a happier customer potentially. So I want to switch over to my computer now and show you how I actually run these tests myself. Then I've got some great suggestions for you on looking at your web hosting. That's really what we're looking at here, is are you using a web hosting company that's giving you the best possible service in terms of your WordPress site? Because there's a big difference between a WordPress blog and another conventional, more conventional site. They work in different ways, and web hosting servers are designed in such a way to either give you a better result in terms of speed and efficiency from your WordPress blog or not. So we have to be sure that you're using the right hosting company to host your domains and get your blog out there in front of as many people as possible. So let's take a look at these 3 simple tests. We're going to look at overcrowding, speed, and a little internal test that you can do right within your WordPress dashboard to make sure that things are running properly and that you've got the right web hosting company backing you up. If not, I've got some great suggestions after the demo that I can give you to possibly bump up and increase that efficiency and speed of your WordPress blog simply by switching your hosting provider. So stay tuned for that, and here we go with the actual tests themselves. Take a look. Alright guys, so here we are, and I'm just on my web browser here on my computer, and I'm going to run through this first test, which is where we're checking for potential overcrowding of your domain and of your website. So this first, basically what we're doing here is we're looking at the number of websites that your host provider is storing or hosting on your same IP address. So every website, every computer, and every location on the internet has what's called an IP address, an Internet Protocol address. And what some of the hosting providers will do is they will put and host your site along with many others on the same IP address. And this can slow down your access to your site, because when people are arriving there, they're having to go through all of this other stuff as well. So what we want to do is we want to go to, again, I'm going to put the links in the description if you're watching on YouTube, or in the blog if you're watching there. But you're going to go to uget-signal.com/tools/web-sites-on-web-server/. So when you go to that link, which I'm going to give you, this is where you will end up. Okay, you've got basically an ad up here for HostGator, but it's you get signal. That's what's going. This is the tool we're going to use to check and see how many domains are hosted on the same IP. So what I've done is I've put in my domain here, buildyoursuccessonline.com. You don't want anything in front of your domain. In other words, don't put the http://www. Leave that out and just start with your actual domain name and the .com or the whatever it is, okay? Then all we have to do is hit check. And what it did is it found 9 domains hosted on the same web server as my domain. And these are actually all either my domains or they're clients of mine. And this is the IP address right here, 192.185.241.124. So that's telling me that on that IP address there's only 9 domains hosted. That's fine. That's actually really good. What will happen in some cases is you will get literally hundreds of IPs domains hosted on the same IP, and that's where you run into trouble. So if you do this test and this list here is really long and it's kind of going off the page, then it may be time to look at a different hosting server, or simply upgrading your current server if they have a more robust package that can give you better hosting for a WordPress blog. Okay, so that's the first test. Now we're going to go and we're going to do a speed test. So for that, we're going to go to tools.pingdom.com. Okay, again, I'm going to give you the links, so don't worry about it. When you arrive at Pingdom Tools, this is what it's going to look like. And basically what you're going to do, you're going to enter a URL to test the load time of that page. Now, what this is doing is it's testing the load time, the time it takes for your page to load, but this is before it actually shows up in the browser. What many of these similar tools and less robust tools will show you is the post timing. In other words, the time from when it actually shows up to when it's accessible. And that's not what we want. We want to know or in other words, before we arrive, how long is it going to take people to actually get to see our site, right? So that's the main thing, and that's what this tool will do for us. So again, I've put in my whole URL here, my whole domain, and I'm going to just go to the settings here, and I'm going to test from Dallas. You don't have to do that. I just prefer to use that particular one because it seems to give me pretty consistent results. And then we just hit test now. Test is in progress. What it'll do is it'll send out its own crawlers, if you will, just like the search engines do, to see how quickly this site will load. Okay, so here's the information we're looking for right here. And more specifically, this number right here, the load time in seconds. Now, my load time is 2.87 seconds. Ideally, you want your load time to be between 1 and 2 seconds. Okay, that's the best results. Now, it's also giving me other things here. It's giving me a performance grade, which is 90 out of 100, and that directly reflects down here where it says, sorry, your website is faster than 54% of all tested websites. Now, we obviously want that 54% number to be higher, and that's something that I'm actually personally looking into right now. I'm looking at improving my web hosting for my main blog here at buildyoursuccessonline.com to make sure that these numbers come up. And what I'm going to do, actually, after I make those changes, I'm going to come back and do a comparison video to show you the differences. Okay, so watch for that too down the road a little bit, because I'm just in between trying to figure out where I want to host this site to get better results. But what I want to point out here, guys, is I would do this more than once, okay? As I scroll back up again, you can see it kept my URL, my domain here in the test window. I'm going to hit test again, and I'm going to get another number, and I'm also going to bring over my calculator. So here we were at 2.69. So first we were at 2.85, I believe, could be wrong, plus 2.69. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do an average. I'm going to do another test, because you know it may have other factors coming into it that are not directly related, because you can see the numbers here are changing each time. I'm going to go back to my calculator, add in the 2.12 now. Whoops. Okay, let's start again. 2.85 plus 2.69 plus 2.12. And we'll do one more test. I like to do 4 when I'm doing this. And you can spread them apart too. You can do one right now, you can do one in a half an hour, do one in an hour, and see where that gets you as well. Okay? And back to the calculator. Plus 2.10. So you can see it actually went down a little bit each time I did the test. Okay, now we're up to, I'm faster than 68% of all tested websites. So when I get this total, 9.76, I'm going to divide that by 4 because I did 4 tests, and that tells me my average is 2.44. Okay, so still a little bit too high for my liking. So as I said, I'm looking into making some changes with my hosting, most specifically with this site, and when I get those results, I'm going to do another video to show you the differences. Okay, so we just clear that and get rid of the calculator. So that's the second test. That's your speed test. This is a really important one. This is what's telling you that when people want to go to your site, it's taking them this amount of time for your site to load for them. And as we know, people want instant gratification. They want to be shown something right away when they get there. So the higher this number, the less likely it is that people are going to stick around on your website before they take off and go somewhere else. Okay, so that's your second test, the Pingdom website speed test. The final test we're going to do is actually right in your own dashboard of your website. Okay, so I'm here in the dashboard, and what we want to do, something very simple, is just click between some of these different areas in your dashboard. Okay, so let's say I want to go to comments, and what I'm doing here is I'm keeping track of how long it takes me to go from one area to another. So that was about 2 seconds there. Now let's try going to my Genesis tab, my theme settings. I always use the Genesis theme and its child themes for most or all of my websites. Little plug there for that. So ideally, guys, as you're going from one to another, you should be seeing about anywhere from a half a second to a second between switches, between any of these items. Okay, we don't want to see it happening any longer than that, any more time than that. A half a second to a second is all it should take to go amongst these things. And this is another good indicator of the speed associated with your WordPress blog in terms of your hosting provider. So that one was pretty quick. So again, I'm sort of on the cusp. I'm a little high here in terms of time, both with the speed test and also with this dashboard test. But I'm looking into that, as I said, and I'm going to show you the results of changing my hosting provider to a different one for this site, and you can see what the differences are there. So guys, that concludes the three-part test. First, we have the reverse IP domain check to make sure that you don't have a ton of other domains hosted on that same IP. Next, you've got your Pingdom website speed test, which is going to tell you the load speed of your website. And finally, your dashboard test, which is an internal test, if you will, to show you exactly how efficient it is for you to manipulate inside your back office, your dashboard of your actual site. Okay, so let's finish things up for the video, and I've got 4 good hosting providers to suggest to you that you can try if you're finding that your results are not optimal with these tests as well. Okay, so let's take a look at that and we'll finish up the video now. So there you go, guys. 3 very simple tests that you can run at regular intervals. I would suggest you run these tests at least weekly on your main blogs that you want to get in front of as many people as possible on the web. You can run them more often or less often, but optimally you want to make sure that that speed and efficiency is right at the topmost peak at all times. So try running them at least once a week for yourself and see how that goes. So in terms of switching your web hosting provider, I've got some suggestions. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can see in the description below I've put links to those. There's 4 of them, 4 different web hosting providers, and these guys all specialize, or they have packages that specialize in hosting WordPress blogs. That's important. As I mentioned earlier in the video, it's a different kind of animal from other types of websites out there. So these guys have really worked on creating hosting for for WordPress blogs that is of the utmost quality, and they will tend to give you better results in terms of your speed and efficiency if you're using those particular hosting providers. So I've provided their names and links below. If you're watching this on my blog, thanks so much for popping by today. I've also got within the blog post you're watching this video in, you can get those links as well and go directly to those hosting providers and see the packages that they have available. Honestly, guys, there's pretty much one for any budget. They go from anywhere from $8 up to, I think, $50 is the most expensive one for their basic WordPress hosting package. Now that's a monthly fee, of course. But the main thing to keep in mind here, guys, is you want traffic to your site, and when traffic arrives, you want that traffic to be happy. Not only for the sake of the people visiting for the site, but also for the search engines. When they're sending out their crawlers and robots to check and index your site, you have to make sure that it's running efficiently and it's fast so that they can index it more efficiently as well, giving you a better SEO or search engine optimization ranking in the search engines. That way, when people are searching for services that you can provide, they're going to find you more easily. And that's the name of the game. If people can find you more easily when they're doing a web search, they're going to land on your page more often. Okay, guys, I hope this has helped you out and that you'll start using this simple test on your WordPress blog right away to make sure it's running at its utmost speed and efficiency. So until next time, thanks so much for watching. My name is Dale Bateman from Build Your Success Online, and thanks so much and have a great and fantastic day. Bye for now.